No one's fun anymore. Whatever happened to fun?
You're listening to the Drag Dungeon Podcast with your hosts, Jay and John.
Hey, welcome back to the broadcast, your favorite podcast. You asked for this shit if you're easily offended. We don't recommend it. You asked for this shit, so here it is.
You. I'll tell you how I'm doing. Not well, bitch.
And just like that, the documentary, because 10 episodes wasn't enough. Was it?
Oh my God, it's like a plague across the land at this point. Like, there's just so much, and I'm scared they're going to have more documentaries and more bullshit on this in the future. Yet, I'm excited that they might. So, I don't know!
I know, very mixed feelings. Like, I'm so over it, but also, can you keep giving us stuff to talk about? Because it's been really good for us, personally. So, I mean...
It really has... I'm like have a high pain tolerance. I think that's probably why I've made it this far. I do, like, I'm the one who has, like, an injury, and I will just poke at it. So, this is, like, this makes a lot of sense that I'm in for this.
That explains a lot, actually, especially about your television viewing habits. Mine too, actually. Like, it hurts and I hate it. Pull that scab off and when I feel it again, when I feel alive.
Please. Yes, or
So tell me this. I know that the documentary footage that, as I was watching it, the very beginning, was filmed, like, throughout the production of the series. But why did it feel like a reenactment? Did you get that feeling? I felt like they were reenacting things that had already happened.
Well, I mean, I could see, like... I think this was very careful, in a way. I think... when they were filming this, they were very careful with the things they said and did, and it was very...
Too careful.
It was very shallow in a lot of ways. I think it was a lot of fashion, lots of... I did like that they didn't do Mariah Carey camera angles. Like, you could tell they weren't like, only film me from this side, because some of the camera angles were not...
We are so simpatico, because that is exactly my next note. Is I can't believe they let that guy film Sarah Jessica from below like that in that car.
Oh my God, that was like some serious like the Hours dancing nose picking out action. You know what I mean? It was very much like, that nose picking game where it's like a big nose and you like Family Double Dare.
Yeah, Double Dare.
You had to like dig stuff out of.
And again, I'm not dogging on her looks. It's just not a good... Nobody looks good at that. Everybody's opened the front-facing camera on their phone and been like, holy shit, who is that? But I was just like, damn, she really is not a shallow... not in that way.
This sense.
Not in that sense, yeah. Because I'd have been like, you need to lift that camera up to the planet Mars and have a light shining directly on my face, like full, like Sunset Boulevard lighting.
Yes, like some natural light, some Drag Race Season 1 Vaseline schmear. Like, let's do this. Not
Surface
just
of the sun lighting. And I'm only 25, so.
Holla.
Okay, so the documentary opens up. It's so weird. Like, I don't know what the purpose of this documentary was. We'll get into that more. But it opens up in what feels to me, if you've ever watched Love After Lockup, where the people go pick their pen pals up from jail to get married. The costume designer, Molly Rogers, I wrote her name down here, is trying to get into this building that's like Fort Knox, where they keep Sarah Jessica Parker's shoes. And she's got to buzz in. She's got to know a password. She's got to get a full cavity search.
Like retinal scan.
Retinal scan, yeah. She's got to have a key card and then do the Matrix through laser beams. I mean, it's crazy. Right? Like, what the fuck? It's not that deep, okay? But she's at a luxury wardrobe storage facility. This is one of those moments where it's so far away from my life that I can't even... It feels like Willy Wonka or Disney or something to me. Like a luxury clothing storage facility. That's a real thing?
Yeah, that's insane because I have a trash can that I can't get the lid to stay closed on. Let alone have a
relatable content
with vintage clothing. Shut up, you rich bitch.
I'm like, I've got one of those flat Tupperware things that you're supposed to jam under your bed that never fits under there and it never closes properly and it has wheels on it that don't do a damn thing. And I've been struggling with that bitch for years.
Oh my God. No, for real. I have like a storage thing that I put clothes in, the door doesn't even shut. It's one of those IKEA ones that I put together. I've adjusted 30 times. God.
So already luxury, and why do wardrobe people always dress like shit? By the way,
They look terrible. Like, you spend so much time. Is that whole like I can solve everyone else's problems, but not my own kind of thing?
that's how I am with mental health.
Me too. That's what I'm saying. That's why I can identify with that.
But I look great.
That's like you go to a hairdresser and, you know, at the hairdresser, you could tell they get bored and just play with shit all day and their hair looks insane.
Mm-hmm.
And then you walk in to get your hair cut and
How many times as a youngster did I just say youngster, go into a Grey Eclipse and there'd be some bitch in there looking like a treasure troll with pink and shit in her hair, and I let that person touch my hair. I care a lot more now. But anyway, so Molly gets into the facility. Okay, it's a very Orange is the New Black situation. It's not glamorous. It's dark. Now, fashion is like represents kind of fun, especially for this show when there's a complete lack of actual substance. Fashion should be a highlight. But we're led into this dungeon, no pun intended, it's not glamorous. It's like dark and depressing. It looks like a meat locker or a morgue where Madeline Ashton's being pulled out of the drawer. And there's all these it looks like bodies and bags hanging around.
Yeah, total like horror film. Like this whole thing has been, which I wrote a story with the whole series as a horror film and just bringing that up again. We're gonna
reenact it. I want my part. Talk to my agent.
A radio reading, like a radio show.
Yeah, like War of the Worlds. People think it's real. So, of course, they pull out that fucking tutu because that tutu, just to try and, I'm like, we're over the tutu. We got it. It's done. First of all, they show a quick clip of the original series intro with Carrie and the tutu. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, that girl is dead. You ruined her legacy. She's not fun anymore. She doesn't wear good clothes anymore. And nobody's happy.
No, totally. Like, it was kind of jarring to see Carrie, you know, like, we're so been immersed in this, and just like that, and to see Carrie, like, it's just really wrong.
It's a different person.
Different person, like, you know, like, not the same. And the fashion really, you know, we remember it being so fresh and seeing these old clips, and then it brings you back to the current with the fashion they had now, and you're like, this just seems sad. Like, it made her seem like really old with this, like the fashion, like they picked all this youthful, fresh, like that white dress. I love that white dress that they had that was the most expensive thing they bought out of the window of Chanel or whatever. And then you see what they have now, and you're like, why didn't you take inspiration from that? Now it's like an ugly brown and...
It's all faded. It looks like somebody's old wedding dress. It's moldy. You got mothballs on it or whatever.
Yeah, like...
It feels like a graveyard of good times gone by. Like everybody's dead. All these good times are gone. They're never coming back. So I say burn the tutu.
Burn it. Let's burn it in a fire.
Let's burn it. So I love this because Molly, God bless her, you're not an actress, darling, but she's opening up these garment bags and acting completely shocked that she's finding clothes from the show Sex and the City. Like, oh my God, I can't believe they have this whole outfit from this scene. And I'm like, bitch, you knew this shit was here. That's the whole reason you're there.
If it wasn't there, we wouldn't be having this documentary. And part two is, none of us as viewers are shocked that Sarah Jessica Parker kept all that shit. No. Why would you be shocked?
She's like, I can't believe I came to the Sex and the City / Sarah Jessica Parker Incorporated rented luxury clothing storage facility. And guess what? I found her clothes here. Well, no shit.
Right.
I mean, how dumb do they think we are? I mean, they're not even doing the bare minimum to try and trick us into thinking this is authentic. Usually a documentary gives you some kind of deeper insight, like we're talking about. This is just like lip service or something. It's just cheap.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Like, I really think this was pretty shallow, and I think, well, we'll get to it, but some of the directing comments that they gave out and some of the acting things were kind of embarrassing.
Embarrassing.
Don't you think?
Like, yes.
This was so much about fashion, I forgot what I was watching. Like, this could be on A&E or something. Like, I didn't think. I don't know where A&E
the History Channel.
Like something not necessary to be on HBO Max, like in its event. Like, this is something that should be on TV that no one really knows it's on. It just came on some minor channel. Anyway, go on.
It had more of like an Unsolved Mysteries feel to it than a documentary.
Sure.
Okay, so this is where Sarah Jessica is in the town car going, I have no idea where she's going. And by the way, I don't know who the guy is that's interviewing her. I guess the filmmaker. I've missed his name. I'm sure it was widely available.
Something French.
Something French, because he's subtitled a lot. That's real convenient for us, but he seems nice, despite the shady camera angles. But anyway, I don't know his name, so I'm going to say the guy, okay? So when I say the guy, that's what I'm talking about. The guy behind the camera.
There were some weird camera angles, too. Like the one where it was like peeking through some clothes while Sarah Jessica was like trying
I'm
on
watching
some stuff.
you.
I'm like, why was that camera shot there? It's not like that anywhere.
The peeping Tom shot, we call
Hardly.
that in the business.
Well, it was trying to give us like we were peeking into something very intimate and something we're not supposed to be seeing.
Wouldn't it be great if we just saw like Sarah Jessica opening up her drawer with all her panties in it, and then we saw Jimbo's glittery glove hand like fingering through the undergarments like the lipsticks on Drag Race, like.
Oh, wow.
I'm trying to work Jimbo into the show now.
I want Jimbo in everything that we ever do.
It's totally unrelated. People don't know who we're talking about. Drag Race. Listen.
Sorry. Drag Race.
Sorry, we're all over the place. But anyway. So she's in the town car with the horrible camera angle talking about doing a screen test with Charlotte and Miranda, the actresses, for the wardrobe, which looks like a real thrill. And Charlotte, I mean, she looks so happy to be there because, like we said, we don't know what her work or money situation is.
Right.
Somebody said she had a drinking problem in our comments. I am not saying that, by the way. Somebody else said that. That's alleged, and I don't think it's true, by the way, personally, for entertainment purposes only. I just saw that comment. No judgment, by the way.
She could do, like, commercials and stuff now that, like, sometimes when actresses,
fall off.
really pretty actresses, like, when they get a little bit older, do those commercials for, like, osteoporosis medication.
Boniva,
like,
Sally Field, sure. Depends, Lisa Rinna.
Yeah, she's about that. I mean, she made tons of money from this, but she could do that if she wants to keep her face on TV. Just a suggestion, Kristen. I mean, I could be your new PR person. Let me know.
I'll race you, because I think I got something for her. I think a full year's work of Hallmark movies. She's perfect for Hallmark.
She's
the acting.
Weird, she's kind of big she's a little maybe too big for a Lifetime movie. Hallmark movies.
Well, after this is a career ruiner, probably. I mean...
She might be. Well, I mean, like Kristen Chenoweth and Lacey, what's her name? Lacey Chabert. Like, that's kind of more speed for that. Maybe she could be like, well, Mariah Carey's okay, let me back up.
She could play the
Mariah
mom.
Carey has done them. So
Dolly has everybody. It's like kind of like the Chitlin circuit for celebrities now. It's just like they go do it. It's embarrassing, but they just hope it just kind of goes away. Like how celebrities used to do commercials in Japan back in the day, because they thought nobody would see it.
Right. Yes, they did all those bizarre commercials. like what was it from Schitt's Creek that Maura did like a video game in Japan, and it was like she was like it's whatever, it's rated R, rated X for everyone, or whatever. It was like,
God, what a great character. They should have got some of those Schitt's Creek people in here writing this stuff. Injected some off-color humor would have been great. I'd love to do it.
Kristen Davis, there's so much. You're right. She could do Hallmark movies. Like, I'm giving her too much credit. I
don't think there's any shame in that. Has Rue done one? I know Wendy Williams has.
Well, Rue did that, The Bitch Stole Christmas, which we already had that movie with Vanessa Williams. It's called The Diva's Christmas Carol, one of the best movies of all time.
Yeah. Okay. So, by the way, there's some weird music. The tone of this, by the way, is also being set by this sad, whiny saxophone, I think, in the background. It's like...
Whiny saxophone.
It's like a funeral song or something. I'm like, what is this? How am I supposed to feel right now? Sarah Jessica is smiling like ear to ear, like she's thrilled about doing a boring photo shoot. Then they're showing them like doing this. She says it's like a silent movie, and they're playing that wah 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 while they like do miming. They're miming in their outfit. It's so weird. It's almost spooky. It gave me the creeps a little bit.
Is it when they're standing there, like standing together?
Yeah.
Didn't you think Sarah Jessica looked very orange in that? Like, she had a lot of tanner on in that scene.
Yeah. I don't know. And none of their outfits go together, by the way. Fire everyone. Okay, not that everybody's outfits have to match, but I think the point of the screen test is like, let's see if these bitches look good together in the outfits we picked out, and guess what? They didn't.
They didn't, and it doesn't have to do with some lighting too, or is that a different test? I'm no filmmaker.
Probably,
so I don't know.
Probably lighting and angles and everything, and continuity. But Okay. The guy, the filmmaker guy, asked Sarah Jessica what her biggest fear is at the moment, which is kind of an odd question when you're beginning. Well, maybe it's not when you're beginning a reboot of a beloved show, and she's like, "I just want to get it right." Well, spoiler alert, they didn't.
Right. Hashtag fail.
They didn't. So the next we see Sarah, I'm just kind of going through some of the scenes that stuck out here. Cynthia Nixon, Sarah Jessica, and Kristen are sitting at a table, I have no idea where, pretending like they're friends in real life, like really hamming it up for us, like, oh, we're such good friends when we're not,
That's what that whole thing was. That was all a show.
We're not financially involved with each other. Yeah. Kristen Davis is like, oh my God, I can finally pay off my Nissan Sonata or whatever.
Right, the lights aren't going to get turned off.
She's just like, I haven't had, my pool has been filthy for years. Can finally drain it, shock it.
She's like, I'm tired of scratching my face with my, like, gnarly manicure. I'm so glad I get to go get my shit done now.
I'm tired of driving to Tijuana to get my injections. I can finally just go to a respectable place in the valley.
No more fix-a-flat for me, bitches.
I'm getting name brand filler. Good for you, girl. Hallmark's calling.
Yeah.
So Cynthia Nixon is kind of like feigning excitement over, God, they can't even act when they're faking a documentary. Like, what the fuck? I'm calling this a fake documentary, but she's like feigning excitement over the first day of filming, which is the next day they're shooting the initial scenes of the series.
So you would say this is a fake-umentary? Sorry, before...
Yes. Yeah,
it's
very
a
good.
Fake-umentary. Yeah. I like putting words together.
I like it. And they make sure to emphasize that because they really... they go back and forth between... And hold your thoughts on this... But they go back and forth between wanting us to remember Samantha and wanting us to completely forget she ever existed. And I'm like, make up your fucking mind. Because they say, almost in unison, like they didn't practice this, we're going to be spending some time with some old friends. And I'm like, yeah, the ones that you're still in speaking terms with. And some new friends. Like, new friends. I don't want no new friends. I don't want new friends. I don't want new characters. Y'all... It wasn't broke. You all broke it because apparently Sarah Jessica was a bitch, allegedly, per Kim Cattrall. Who knows what's real? Like we said, we don't really know the truth.
I really think she could have been nicer.
But I mean, new friends. Ooh, like I'm supposed to be excited about new people on a show that's already established.
Yeah, nobody likes new characters. I mean, look, well, that kind of worked, I guess, in the 80s, which we kind of talked about, like these shows that bring on new people, like if a show was suffering, they would bring on a baby or a child or something. Like
weddings and babies.
Weddings and babies.
That's why I hate the last season of or the last few episodes of every single sitcom is a wedding and a baby.
And it always kills it. Like, it always kills the mood. Like, when you have the people who are, like, pining for each other secretly, and they finally get together, it's like, next, I'm over this. It always happens.
I hate it. The only one I was kind of okay with was Dorothy and the Golden Girls. If you're playing Drag Dungeon Bingo, we just said Golden Girls, so that's your center square. So, Michael Patrick King. He's the showrunner. He has been forever. I have a lot of respect for him, or did. Somebody... somewhere, I don't recall where, said that he looked like Elf on a Shelf. And again, I'm not making fun of anybody's looks here. I'm really not, okay? I've had my looks made fun of many a time. But I cannot look at him now without seeing Elf on a Shelf. And by the way, the elf is a cute Elf on a Shelf. But do you see it?
I mean, sure, I could see Elf on a Shelf. I mean...
He's not ugly or nothing. I'm just saying he's cute. Like Dr. Oz, kind of elfy.
Dr. Oz, that's a great comparison. Very, like... Yes,
like a nymph or something. I don't know exactly.
Nymph.
Somebody from Lord of the Rings.
A gnome.
Yeah, like who'd you call Gollum the other day?
Oh no! Stop. We're not bringing it
I forgot who. I laughed so hard at that. Anyway, I'm sure they'll remind me in the comments. So, but he's explaining who Nicole Ari Parker, aka Lisa Todd Wexley, is, and he makes it very clear to us that she is not the new Samantha, and he's got this grand plan of how he's going to introduce her to us and let us know, look guys, she's here, she's their new friend, she's the fourth, we can make things happen. Were you thinking it? I was thinking it. We're witches. But she's not Samantha. And he's like, I've got this great idea. What I'm going to do is she's going to come up to the girls at lunch because that's their signature setting. And then Carrie and Miranda are going to get up and leave, and Lisa will sit down. And that way the audience knows. And I'm like, really, dude? Give us some credit.
Okay, listen. I really enjoyed when I did directing back in the day in college. And so I do appreciate thoughtfulness when it comes to creating a scene and creating a story and things that aren't spoken. I do appreciate that.
Effective,
but I don't
yeah.
think this deserved a story like he told it. Because this is like and correct me if I'm wrong, this is like the only real story he told about his directing, like, you know, what he did for this show. Like, this was like, he made this like he was like a freaking genius.
Yeah, like it was his magnum opus, like, oh my God, you will not believe I have got
He
it.
remembered for all, it's me and Kubrick. That's all that exists. Me
Right,
and Kubrick.
exactly. So, but here's my problem with this, and I agree with you. A thought behind the action is great if it's a good one, but this isn't good because he's telling us, just you guys, she's beautiful, she's here, she's having lunch, she's not Samantha. Well, guess what? You introduced her to us in a restaurant, right with all the other three girls, in a social situation where we are used to seeing Samantha, only Samantha's not there. So you've only shown a light on it and made it more obvious that Samantha's not here. And so to me, we're less likely to liken to Lisa. At least I was, because I'm like, who the fuck are you? What are you doing here?
I think this is some insight that wasn't necessary to know. And like some of this stuff, like, okay, so I don't know that I'm going to be rewatching any of this. But if there are
No, you're kidding.
the bizarre person out there that did want to watch this again, because you might want to hate watch it again, or if you love a series, you'll sit through the crap sometimes. Like there are series that I love that have bad parts of seasons, and I might still watch anyway. Say you do, but now you're going to think of that every time you see that scene, which is annoying.
I'm like, the Elf on a Shelf guy really put a lot of thought into this. I mean, he was up all night for months thinking, how do we get... I'm like...
It's an annoying story.
How
like,
about a
it was
phone
not
call?
necessary.
Like, I really don't need all this detail, but yeah, he really thought he was doing something there. And I'm like, it really just reminded me that Samantha's not here. And now I miss her again. So thanks for bringing that up again and making me think about it.
The real star of all of this was Samantha's hole, right? The hole...
Her badge.
The hole that she left.
The hole, yes.
By not being there. So this just makes that hole just a tad bigger.
Right. And you can't just put anybody in that hole.
No, and we get it. You're not putting her. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
You get the Nobel Prize for directing.
She is her own person. I'll be the judge of that. She, I mean, the way they set it up, she may as well have like come in wearing a Samantha suit, like a skin mask of Samantha's face. Like, don't worry.
Oh my God.
Like, I'm not
I'm
Samantha.
telling you, this whole thing would be a great horror. Now, you just brought Texas Chainsaw Massacre into this. I'm here for it. We got Hostel. We got Texas Chainsaw Massacre. You got the haunted shit that I wrote. I mean, I'm telling you.
Let's work that luxury clothing place in there, because that's like the meat processing plant, Texas Chainsaw.
Right. It's like some real morgue realness. I love it.
Okay, so let me get to my next little note here. Okay, so they ask Sarah Jessica inevitably about the guy, asks her about how Samantha's absence is being handled. And of course, she has rehearsed this. They've had many a meeting about how to handle this conversation, how to answer this particular question. And her words, verbatim, are, I think it's handled very nicely, and it's gently peppered throughout the
Like
series.
that premiere.
Is the door open for potential return?
No.
Did you feel that it was gently peppered?
No, like I said, the star is the hole. You know, any hole's a goal. I think that Sarah Jessica, they definitely sat around and went over how she's going to answer that question, because every media person that's allowed to ask it's going to ask. And I'm sure they rehearsed it in every way. Just like Rue, sorry, back to Drag Race. When Rue does Bring Back My Girl, supposedly she records it lots of different ways, like Bring Back My Girls, Bring Back My Girls, you know, like rehearses the whole thing. He probably did this with this.
Well, I would love that footage to leak of her just saying the same line over. We peppered it gently. We peppered it gently. We sprinkled
peppered it gently.
We don't miss her at all.
Right. We don't miss her at all.
I say that I don't think that was effective. It was not gently peppered. It was like a harsh reminder because every time we were just... Here's my thing, is like, I don't feel like the writers and Michael Patrick, or anybody involved, really, gave us a chance to mourn Samantha and move on. Because she was always showing up in a fucking text, on a card of flowers at a funeral, they were reminiscing about a story with her. I'm like, if she's not here, can we just forget about her and move on?
Yeah, they should have just killed her off.
They should have
just killed her off.
Closure. We didn't have closure with Samantha, so how am I supposed to... No wonder I didn't fall in love with Chadia. Because I'm still pining away for Samantha. How are we supposed to get into these new people? There's too many damn characters on this show. It's only an hour. Anyway. But I was going to say, it felt more like a 10 episodes, just a long funeral for somebody that we used to know. But, so yeah, that was my issue with that.
We cared more about Samantha being gone than Big. I mean, who cares if Big died? I mean, we cared, but
by the way,
we didn't care because of Chris Noth and stuff. Like,
I didn't care. I wouldn't have cared either way. Allegations or not, I never gave a shit about him at all.
No.
I think a lot of people didn't. The consensus from everybody that watches is like it should have been Aiden. By the way, that guy, John Corbett, did you see that he like lied about being in the show? Who would lie about being in this, first of all?
Oh, and there's more drama.
Can I take you out to dinner, just you and me?
Actor John Corbett, who played Aiden but never appeared in the reboot, is under fire. Last year, he told Page Six, "I'm going to do the show. I think I might be in quite a few episodes." Well, one of the show's writers just revealed that was never in the works, and quote, John Corbett should be writing personal apology notes.
So do you think he would... well, I don't know. I wouldn't have lied either. I mean, what's he doing now? He could do the Hallmark movies with Kristen Davis.
He does the Lone Star Steakhouse commercial voiceovers.
Oh, wow. That's got to be lucrative.
Oh, how the mighty have fallen. But anyway, I thought that was such a weird thing. I don't know if maybe there was a conversation and he jumped the gun, but I'm like, I bet he's regretting it now. That's a piece of shit. Who would want anything to do with this? I wouldn't even put this on my resume.
Well, no, that's a great example of people people they'll ask some celebrity, what are you working on this? Are you working on that? And they will refuse to say, because if they say and it falls through, then they look like fools. Here's an exhibit A.
Right. Oh, and by the way, speaking of Chris Noth, how do you feel about just completely no mention of him whatsoever? Erased from history.
Well, I don't know. I don't know when they filmed this, so...
Well, we have our QAnon
I mean, I know they
theory
filmed it before. I guess I should say, I don't know when they edited it. So he must have been there, is what I'm trying to say. And they just edited him out.
I always think it's a good approach when something problematic or bad happens in history just to pretend it never happened. I think that's a great way to deal with problems. It's really worked for me in my personal life. I mean, say what you will. History class, just forget a lot of that horrible things happened. I'm not going to say anything specifically, but a lot of people refuse to acknowledge or believe that things happened in history, and, maybe it's just better that way. I'm joking. It's not. I don't believe in just erasing it. I don't think an allegation is reason to just cut him all. Not that he was that important to this, but I'm just saying I still have feelings about how they all turned on him. Guilty or not, we don't know.
And he's still he's still a character on the show. He still was a part of it. Maybe not show him in this, but they could have mentioned it a little bit or something. I don't think that would have brought down the show when people would have been pissed if they mentioned
there would have been riots in the streets if he, if there was a flashback. This show is
not that damn important that people are going to be pissed if you mention his character.
Samantha was a ghost, basically. She wasn't really there, and she was texting. And Chris Noth, he was reduced to a ghost and a lamp. A poltergeist situation, so whatever.
If that was his ghost and not Samantha's, or it could have been Stanford's. I thought about that. I'm like, maybe that was Stanford's trying to tell Carrie.
Oh my God. You are so right. It's fucking Stanford. You just blew my mind. That lamp was Stanford. And he was asking for a light for a cigarette and a martini. Holy shit. Mind blown.
He was pissed that they lied about him going to London or wherever he went.
And why is Carrie so fucking selfish and self-involved that she didn't even consider that it would be Stanford? I'm mad at myself for not thinking of it. You're so right.
Yeah, it's on you.
Very astute observation there. Okay, so Carrie is talking to the guy that plays Steve. I forget his name. Dave Eichelberg or whatever. By the way, he did have hearing aids in, so We've been going back and forth in the comments with people. Some people are saying he really did have a hearing problem. Other people are like, no, he doesn't. They wrote it in, and I was confused, and I never looked it up because I didn't care. But he did have his hearing aids in, so I believe the actor probably does have a hearing problem, and they wrote it in, which is fine. They did overdo it.
We feel bad about him getting hit by a bus and stuff because he couldn't hear it coming.
Yeah. I mean, I think the joke still works. I think it still works.
I mean, I like it still. However,
the only thing is hearing aids are very expensive to replace. So if he got hit by that bus, one of them could go flying.
Say he lived from that.
Yeah, if he lived.
That would suck to have to replace those hearing.
Yeah. And be on life support. God bless him. We still do it. Did Steve ever get justice? Not really. So, Carrie, it's so funny to me how Sarah Jessica remembers, and I guess this could be true for all of us, but she remembers very specific details. Like, she'd be like, I wore that belt in episode 3 of season 2, and the scene with, and I'm like, okay, wow, are you like a savant or something? But then she's like, Dave, did we ever do a scene together?
I know, right? She doesn't remember that. And did you notice, like, when she finally remembered the scene, she kept saying, isn't it about Aiden? Meaning about her. Isn't it about Aiden?
It's about me, right? It's about my shoes.
It was about Aiden. And he's like, I think it was about Miranda. No, it was about Aiden. Like, it was all about her.
How did my tits look in that scene?
About herself. And it totally reminded me of Gaga on Runway, or Drag Race, going, I wore that Valentino to the 2006... whatever award show she was at. I'm like, oh, puke. That's so gross.
There's so many weird... Yeah, everything does kind of come back to fashion. Like, what shoes was I wearing? I was waiting for that Molly bitch to come in the costume. You're not a bitch. Sorry, lady. Molly, to come back in and be like, yeah, of course. Don't you remember, Sarah Jessica? You and Dave had a scene together, and you were wearing the Versace dress with the Manolo Blahnik shoes. And I'm like, oh, jeez. Like, this is too much for me.
Right. And she's like, with this belt and this bag that were all mismatched colors... Don't you remember?
Like, this is where I check out with fashion. Like, I like fashion. It's fun. I say this all the time. But when it gets to this point of neurosis, it's when I'm like, okay, enough. Like, really? Like, I can go deep and get weird on a lot of stuff. But when we're talking about designers and seasons and fall of 96, yes. I'm just like, stop. Yes. I can't.
I agree. Like, I love fashion as well. And I love looking at it and even talking about it. But when you're like, this is a 1991 Mugler fall.
That's douchey.
Like, shut the...
Nobody cares. Is that relevant to how it looks? Not really.
No.
No more H&M on my runway. So, yes, in fact, they did shoot a scene together. And then Sarah Jessica can't remember if the guy that plays Peter, who she just started working with, if they've kissed yet or not. She's like, have we done a scene together? And I'm like, bitch, you just met him.
Well, didn't she say, though, they didn't... She said a name of another show, I thought. I thought she was saying... maybe I read into this. I didn't look it up, so
maybe
I didn't
do
my research. Like, they did another show together, and they might have kissed on it. Now, I haven't done my research on that. That's just what I kind of got out of that.
Oh, did that? They're recycling too many people. I was okay with the Prada guy.
Show or something.
Yeah, I was okay with the Prada guy because he was hot, but I don't like too many recycling. It's not like B. Arthur and Maude. Another Golden Girls reference with Betty White and Rue McClanahan.
I do like shows when characters play other characters on them. I think that's kind of fun.
Yeah. I never got into soap operas, but I always loved on a soap opera when somebody left the show and they just put another bitch in there. I thought that was awesome.
Oh, right. They just swap them out. They're like, well, she's gone. Let's just replace her with somebody who looks kind of like her.
I think that's a really great way to keep now that's how you keep your actors in check. Like, you got a big ego, guess what? We'll just swap another blonde or brunette in there.
Like, soap operas, nobody cares. You know?
Sure
like,
don't.
Swap them out.
Okay, here's Molly again. Now, this I thought was an interesting point. You may disagree. More fashion stuff, guys. Guess what? Spoiler, the entire thing is about fashion. Now, they said that Molly worked with Patricia Field since the 80s. So for like 30-something years, they've worked, if my math's right there, worked with Patricia Field for the entire series and both movies. So she was like her right-hand gal. But I noticed in the scenes in this documentary where Carrie's doing her fittings, nobody is checking her. Nobody's saying no or refuting anything she says. And I remember, she's surrounded by yes people, is my point, sycophants. But in the behind the scenes, because I'm a dork and watched like the behind the scenes fashion stuff for the movies, Patricia Field would be like, no, and she would reel Carrie in or Sarah Jessica in when she wanted to wear something stupid, and she would push her to wear things that were a little odd or different. And that's kind of like the magic of her. I really think she is kind of like a genius. And I think that she was strong enough to tell Sarah Jessica, no, bitch, you're not wearing an entirely brown suit with polka dots to a job interview, or that Joker outfit to the job interview. Like, Sarah Jessica does not have good taste, is my ultimate point here.
No, I totally agree. And I was absolutely thinking that. And I was thinking, like, you know, Patricia, she was probably, like, way more intimidating, maybe, to Sarah Jessica.
Yes.
Jessica. I think she was probably intimidating.
She's older, she's established, she's been around forever.
Yes.
She's, like, punk rock. Like, you know, she's got that bright red hair. She's cool.
And she helped make the show, and Sarah Jessica probably knew that and was like, I can't push back on this bitch. That's why this documentary where they show that stupid hat that she gets so, I hate using this expression, but I'm going to say it, butthurt, when she was told that she can't wear that hat.
We're like, bitch, it's ugly. Take it off.
That is like some shit from a yard sale. Like, that is, Mama, this is garbage. Why are you getting so upset about this stupid hat? But I will give her this. After she took off the hat, you could tell it wasn't there anymore. Like, she needed something else on
That
her
was
head.
a profound statement. If a tree falls in the woods and nobody sees it, did the tree really fall? If Sarah Jessica's wearing a hat in Paris and nobody sees it, was the hat being worn? The world may never know. How many licks to get to the center of a lot? We could go all day. But, okay.
To be to come up with something like that for something stupid. Sorry.
Okay, I actually have a point of reference here. I read a book about, because I've always been kind of infatuated with celebrity in general, but celebrity fragrances and just like the cash grab of trashy celebrity fragrances, you know, like Paris Hilton, Britney Spears.
Yeah.
There's a book called The Emperor of Scent that I read, and they talk about when Sarah Jessica went to go produce her perfume. And of course they're thinking, it's SJP, it's going to be flowery, floral, fun, girly. And this bitch went in there, she wanted like frankincense and myrrh, tree bark, dirt. Like, she wanted crunchy granola, indigo girls, Lilith Fair, lesbian perfume. Like,
lesbian perfume.
You know when you walk into like the occult shop or something and you smell that smell of incense? Oh, like Zendaya, don't cancel me. Patchouli. Like, she would like that kind of shit. And all the people in the room, the guy said, I don't know, were like, holy shit, we can't sell a Sarah Jessica Carrie Bradshaw Sex in the City glamorous perfume if it smells like fucking tree bark and dirt. So they made a deal with her where her first perfume was called Lovely, and it was like sweet and girly, but her second one, which was called Covet or something like that, was gnarly.
There it was, staring at me. I had to have it. I had to have it.
It was like,
smell that now. That sounds interesting. Like,
I have it.
I'm not big into like tree bark and pine foresty scents, but I would try to. What if you wore them both together? Now I'm kind of intrigued. I kind of want to know.
I love layering a scent. I love wearing a women's perfume, a men's.
There's no
cologne.
such thing. They're only women's perfume because they call them that.
I know. Gender isn't real, and neither is perfume gender.
Oh, we just made that up. You could wear whatever you want.
No,
sure.
That's one area where I really will agree with the gender is stupid for gendering perfume scents. I mean, for God's sake, who cares? I'll wear Britney Spears Midnight Fantasy any day of the week. I'll wear it to the men's club, to the lodge.
To the lodge.
What's the club that Zen and Mama's family, the snake, the slithering snake club?
Oh, yeah, that's where they go, yeah. And Mama dresses up like one because she needs, I don't remember what
I'll
she
show up to that bitch wearing white diamonds.
Right, white diamond. So we never got to smell that Madame X perfume that Madonna put out. Just saying, if anybody's ever smelled it, please tell us. Because I'm still haunted by that she put that out and I never got to smell it.
I don't even remember it.
Yeah, she put it out and it was like $300 and nobody bought it. She did it for herself, which is kind of cool, actually. But
ultra limited edition. Did you see? I want Amanda Lepore's perfume. I'm sure it's like all rotten now. But did you see that sculpture that she's putting out?
No. No.
She's putting out like a $900 little mini bust of her that is so freaking cute.
Wait, I might have saw that now that you mentioned that on Instagram. Yes. No, I want to know what her perfume is. What's it called? Is it called Red Lipstick? Because that's like her thing.
I think it's just Amanda Lepore something, but it's like in a Swarovski crystal bottle. And
yes.
very cute. But that used to be like I mean, this perfume is old. It's probably rotten now, but who cares? I just want it. Okay, let's get back on track. People are like, what the hell are these people talking about?
Check us out on Patreon if you like more of what's going on.
So, one last thing about the fashion before I talk about fashion some more is that when Carrie, she's trying on these ugly ass outfits and then she hits the little bell on the table like, ding, we got it.
Right. Oh my God, that's obnoxious.
Like she's just vetoing and nobody else is allowed to have any input now because I decided I'm going to wear all brown and polka dots and I'm just like, whenever in this entire 10 episodes of Hell series, whenever there's an opportunity for any joy, which, by the way, fashion could give us something, at least we could have eye candy, it's snuffed out. Without fail, everybody drops the ball. Any chance, any little opening for joy, a glimmer of hope, they're like, not today, bitch. So instead of, I'd be much more willing to put up with these shitty storylines if I could see some glitter and sparkles in sequence, is my point.
No, right. There was a black cloud over all of this, which definitely covered the fashion as well and the stuff that they were picking out. And yeah, when she was like putting on those outfits and she was like, do we have like a gingham belt for this? I'm like, are you insane?
Fuck? Iola Boylan.
What's wrong with you? No, bad Sarah Jessica, bad.
She has bad taste.
She does. And that's the thing. It's like she thinks that, and I love mixing matching patterns. Mix matching. I do love that. I think that can be really chic and really fun. But it's got to be the right ones. You can't just grab any, bitch. Oh, did you clock the mango espadrilles?
Was she wearing mango espadrilles?
There was a mango espadrille at some point in here, and I was like, mango espadrille!
She would wear that ugly ass shit. I think part of the thing, too, is like, she's very manic about when doing these fashions. I'm like, you realize that these are going to be filmed and live on forever on television, right? Like, this is not just on a whim. Like, who has a gingham belt? Like, what the fuck? Whoever even heard of that, by the way?
Yeah, she just wasn't not very thoughtful. I feel like the original series, this fashion was so thoughtful, well thought out, well chosen, well put together. And this was just like, let's give Sarah Jessica a bunch of shit and do whatever she says.
Let's let her loose in a thrift shop and just see what she comes up with. And she comes out looking like E.T. with the wig on in the shopping cart.
Oh my God, that's that tie and that polka dot thing. Isn't that E.T.? Didn't E.T. wear an outfit like that?
That's an E.T.
with the
reference.
Wig and the hat?
Terry Mugler, 1980.
Terry Mugler
for E.T.
1982.
For Steven Spielberg. But yeah, so let me see. Okay. Oh, I had something else to say about the clothes. Damn it.
Well, the thing about that suit, too, is they covered it with a jacket. That's another thing. Like, they went on and on and on and on about how much they loved it. Then they put that purple jacket over it, and you hardly even saw it.
Oh, exactly. I know what I was going to say is, like, when Cynthia Nixon's doing her directing, and she's all like, I'm a director now. And she's got her brow.
Talking about that.
Yeah, I know. Because it's just like a make-believe. We're all just pretending she's a director for a day. Did you notice, like, when she calls cut, she turns around to look and get confirmation from everyone that she did the right thing?
Yeah,
like she says,
definitely
cut, and then she turns around. She's like, right, cut, right?
Right, cut. Is that correct? Is cut the right word? Cut. What? Cut. Coot. Cute. Cut. Oh, cut. I'm just kidding.
That's like having a top be gentle. Like, can I put it in? Like, bitch, do something. Right. Make a choice. Like,
this is what I'm here for, so yes, you can.
Ugh, consent is so overrated when it comes to directing.
So I have to say, too, about this fashion, like, I know we also obviously recap Drag Race, so that's where my mind goes a lot. They could have done, and they do this, they do, like, Night of 1,000 Madonnas, Night of 1,000 Michelle Visages, which I thought was sketchy.
Sounds like a nightmare.
Night of 1,000 Carries. And Sarah Jessica could have been a guest judge.
Sure.
I mean, that's a missed opportunity. They could have done that. I'm not saying it would have been good. It's just something they could have.
Look, at this point, the bar solo, it doesn't have to be good. It just has to be mildly amusing, and I'm all in.
It could have been. Like, they could have done that and to, like, help market the movie to the...
I think a little okay, here's my thing with my point that I was going to make is I think that a little more spontaneity would have been good, because they show when Cynthia Nixon is directing her episode that she's so proud of, she's like, she's got her hair, she's slicking her hair back, she's got her reader, she's no makeup, eyebrows furrowed, mask on, and she's looking real intently at a clipboard that's got like the scenery like laid out, like a plan for a house, and they're like, do we move that dresser 2 millimeters to the right? So
right.
Carrie,
so her director is so Madonna directing. Like, I have the glasses on and I have my hair back, so that I'm the director.
It's cosplay. It's like a costume, yeah. And I'm like, instead of all this, like, maybe just like, be a little spontaneous and improvise a little bit. I know that there's money involved and time is money in producing TV shows, but a little spontaneity could have elevated the fun a little bit. Instead of, let's say, a gingham belt and a brown suit, how about we take a little more time on the fashion and make sure those choices are correct, and take a few chances with the acting and the scenery. You know what I mean? If somebody, bumps into the table and Big's urn falls over, so be it.
Right, someone vacuums it up right in front of Carrie. I mean, it's comedy. Like, it's comedy. Let's do it. And Kristen Davis you could tell she is never going to teach an acting class with how she was describing her acting in that scene. Like,
what was she talking about?
What was those words?
I couldn't even follow her train of thought.
It's so embarrassing. Like, it's so embarrassing.
She was like, well, the big thing they put in the promo was Sarah Jessica saying, when somebody says action, I just feel more whole. And I'm like, what does that even mean? Like,
any hole's a goal.
Any hole, like, until somebody tells me I'm alive, I'm dead. I just
right?
What?
She needs action to do anything in life. Like, she wakes up in the morning,
like a Stepford wife,
and action. So she goes and brushes her teeth.
It's like me. Until I pop my antidepressants, I just don't know what to do with myself. Okay, so we get to meet a lot of the crew. This is boring. Sorry, crew. We love you.
Oh my God, what was that? We don't care.
We don't
care who the gaff is, and you've been the gaff on
the
the
gaffer?
original show.
This is where they took Chris Noth out. They were like, let's put the gaffer.
You were the gaffer 20 years ago?
Like, this is the guy. I'm the guy that gets the coffee.
Right. I'm the fluffer for the guy who's naked and comes out of the room after Sarah Jessica knocks.
I'm the COVID compliance officer. Like, what? Nobody gives a shit.
Nobody has that, because people, sometimes they're wearing masks, sometimes they weren't. I'm like, just sometimes they're afraid of COVID, sometimes they're not. I don't know what's going on.
I'm calling the police. Who did they vote for?
I'm calling the police.
Miranda stormed the Capitol. I saw her there. Okay, so Cynthia, they're in the writers' meeting, and Michael Patrick announces Cynthia Nixon's our director. Like Steven Spielberg has walked into the room.
I think he did that to, like, blame her for it.
Well, he is a shady guy. You're right.
Right. He was like, Cynthia's a director.
It's all her, you guys. It's all her.
She's doing this.
I'm just here on the shelf waiting for the holidays. Leave me out of it. But by the way, as soon as he says that, they cut to Sarah Jessica taking full credit for giving Cynthia Nixon the director responsibility. Oh, the camera guy, asked her about it, and she goes, that was decided before Cynthia even signed on to reprise Miranda. Me and Michael Patrick decided she was going to be directing an episode. And I'm like, wow, you're really
buying that story.
Is that, well, I think this was a little bit of a self-report, because she sounded very entitled and having people be at her beck and call. Maybe that's why Kim Cattrall didn't really care for you, because you felt very entitled to her time and her career decisions. She's like, we're having Miranda back. And I'm like, okay, well, since we're basing it on merit, which you claim she has, can Kim Cattrall come back and direct some episodes next season?
Right. Like, I can't imagine them, like, say Cynthia Nixon, this would never have happened, said, no, I'm not coming back on the show, she still would have directed? Like, is that what...
Right, exactly.
Like,
I don't see that happening.
Happened ever.
No, they'd have been pissed at her, because they wouldn't have had a show. Because nobody's watching Che, Seema, and Carrie, and Bobby Lee.
Oh my God.
As much as we love Seema. Actually, I might watch that. But only if she kills the other two in the first episode.
Yeah, go Cynthia and Samantha, Thelma and Louise off a cliff.
Let's call it Suddenly Seema, like Suddenly Seymour from Little Shop.
So cute. I thought about that, actually. Suddenly Seema.
Oh, now you're doing a Sarah Jessica Parker and taking my idea. You're taking my idea.
That was my idea?
No, just the title was my idea. I'll see you in court. You know, I'm sick of this. So, yeah. So, okay. So, Cynthia, let me see. Oh, this is where I wrote about Kristen Davis rambling too. I seriously have no idea what she was talking about. She's like, I went to acting school and I just love being alive and I like rainbows and Skittles. And I'm like, all right, girl. We find out that Naya, I think we heard this before. Cynthia Nixon says Naya was supposed to be her love interest because, you know, anybody want a bitch for $2.
Well, and then she says they're both bottoms, so she didn't do it.
We're both bottoms, so it didn't work out. So we had to create a character in a laboratory. Yeah. So we went to the lab and we manufactured Che Diaz. This whole thing weirds me out because then Michael Patrick's like, we designed the character around Che's. Now, I'm not making fun. It's going to sound like it. We designed the character around Che's gender priority specifications. And I'm like, okay, this is how acting works?
What are you talking about?
Okay. You wanted, I hear a little bit of that hissing, girl. That radiator going. But anyway, and Cynthia Nixon even says Miranda and Naya are both straight women, and she says they're the same age, and I'm like, I think Naya is younger than you, actually, by like 10 or 20 years. But she says it's not exactly sexy for two 50-something-year-old women to be having sex. So we got a butch lesbian or a butch person, i.e. Che Diaz.
Yeah, I question this whole Che Diaz thing, like especially when they were talking to, I'm probably jumping ahead too.
Hold on one second, girl. We gotta get away from that squealing. Sorry, people. We have an audio issue. One moment. We're not editing this. Enjoy the behind-the-scenes sneak peek. The documentary.
Right, this is our documentary.
This is our documentary about Drag Dungeon Podcast. It's so real. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Just smash it with a hammer. I liked that. Okay, so here I'm conflicted because you were saying something. You want to finish your thought?
Well, we haven't gotten to. Well, go on. I'll save it because we're probably just not there yet. I jumped ahead.
Okay, so we're getting close to the end here, but I have mixed feelings about this because although I hate Che Diaz, I think that Naya is too good for Miranda, and I would hate to see her reduced to being Miranda's love interest. And she got a hot husband this way, so to me, she lucked out because can you imagine? Yeah, that was the right
choice not to have her. I agree.
And I'm like, I know there is such a thing as a late in life lesbian. Like women get older, they go through menopause, and they're just like, you know what? It's just easier being with a woman. It's a real thing, okay? Controversial, I know, but we all kind of know somebody, one of your mom's friends maybe, who's just like, you know what? Men cheat on me. They treat me like shit. I got a roommate, and sometimes she goes down on me. I know some people like that. Not technically a lesbian. I'm not saying that's my life story, but whatever. So they create the new, and Cynthia uses the word butch too, which I enjoy. But also, so now we can blame Cynthia Nixon and Michael Patrick for Che Diaz because they had to bring her in some kind of way, them in. So that's why Carrie has a bad career or no career. That's why she's second, third fiddle on that shitty podcast this whole season, except for at the end when she gets her own finally, because Miranda needed pussy.
Yeah, that
was a very Carrie thing to do, actually. Make it all about you and fuck somebody else's life up.
It totally is. Like, that's all the show cared about. I don't understand. And the actress, Che Diaz talking about, and Sarah Ramirez, right? Mm-hmm. I keep feeling like I'm going to say her name wrong.
Well, you have to say it like Sarah Jessica Sarah.
Well, they were talking to them about the show, and Sarah had a very, I feel like prepared statement about how they felt about Sex and the City. Like, this really helped me with my sexuality and stuff. I'm like, what are you talking about?
No way.
No, it didn't. You're just saying that because they told you to say that.
It helped me be a problematic adult.
They could have just said, this was a fat paycheck, and I needed to go to Capri. I wanted to go to Capri.
I'll tell you personally what Sex and the City did for me. It helped me as a person living in New York at the time that it was on, looking at my life and wondering why it wasn't as great as the people on the TV.
Right, it just made you feel bad. It's like they're like internet influencers or something. You just look at their lives and think how glamorous they are and how they can afford things that they never would be able to afford in real life based on their jobs. And then you're just like, why can't I afford this? I want to die.
I'm like, why am I broke? Why am I not having fun?
Right.
Why'd the condom break? You know, I mean, stuff that never happens on the show. Whatever. I never saw Carrie at Coinstar. I'm just saying.
with that Eiffel Tower purse full of quarters, full of pennies, shaking it out.
What if
she could fit some ashes in there?
What if her little Ziploc of coins that we all keep in our console of our car fell out of her purse and she dove into the lake to get it in that expensive ass ugly dress?
You see Carrie out there with like a metal detector in
waiting
the parking lot.
with floaters on. Fuck, babe.
Like me in college. God, I like searched for a dime on the ground so I could put it in the parking meter so I could go get a $1 coffee somewhere.
Kids these days will never know the struggle. We walked a mile in the snow.
The struggle is real.
The struggle was real, and if you're anything like me, you were like, let me get my clothes first and pay my cell phone, obviously, but things like insurance, rent, that was all like secondary.
I wonder who paid all that stuff with Carrie back in the day. Like, did she have like a secret? No, I'm just kidding.
Well, somebody did put in our comments that a QAnon conspiracy theory that they said she was a hooker, which I thought made total sense.
Right. Oh my God. So the comment, I'm just going to mention it because it made me laugh out loud, is that Carrie was like, what was it? Carrie was like a prostitute and Seema found out and that she was going to end up murdering Seema. I like LOL. That is
Did somebody say that? I love that.
Yes. That is incredible.
Look how creative our commenters are. I mean, just on a whim, just drunk at home alone on a Monday night, and these writers are getting paid big bucks to write bullshit. Okay. So Sarah Jessica pretends that she loves Che because it would be politically incorrect not to. She loves Che and Bobby Lee. I bet Bobby Lee is fun to be around, by the way. But I
agree. He does look like a lot of fun, but I mean...
He does a podcast too. It's called Tiger Belly with his girlfriend. It's really funny. He's just a really fun guy. But I don't think Sarah Jessica likes sharing the spotlight with two other people in a scene. I really don't.
No, I love Mad TV because he was on Mad TV.
Oh,
that's like so incredible. So many awesome skits, way better than Saturday Night Live, if you ask me. Just saying.
So many politically incorrect skits.
Oh my God, that's why you watch it. It's so wrong. That show would not be on today. Saturday Night Live wishes. Could have done that.
SNL is so boring and safe. Just like this. Okay, let me get back. I have a few more notes here and then we'll wrap up, I promise. Okay. Michael Patrick explains Seema's character and how she comes in. Now, it's very funny to me how he went to all that trouble to tell us that Lisa was nobody and not Samantha. And then he's like, Seema's exotic. She's South Indian. She's rich. She's a real estate mogul. She's at lunch with the girls. And I'm like, so is she the new Samantha? Because we're fine with that.
If she was the new Samantha, then they really failed at showing that. Like, her character was so...
They waited too long.
A sycophant for Carrie, would do anything for Carrie. Rubbing Carrie's feet, polishing her shoes, giving her a bikini wax. Like, she would do anything for Carrie. And maybe Samantha pulled out her diaphragm. I don't know. Did you think Samantha would have cut Carrie's toenails?
No, because Samantha was... she had a lot of self-love. She said her famous line, I love you, when she's breaking up with her boyfriend Smith, I love you, but I love me more.
Yeah.
Which is iconic. And then when she pulled Carrie's diaphragm out, it wasn't like, hey, I'm a good friend. It was like, they were all getting ready to go out to the bar, and she was like, we're going to the bar. If I have to go dig your diaphragm out so I can get drunk, I'm going to do it. So it's all leads back. All roads lead to Samantha, but she owned herself involved stuff. Whereas Carrie tries to like skirt around it and act like she gives a damn about her friends, which she does not.
She does not. And she gets mad when other people do it.
She sure does. Some of the behind the scenes footage I just noticed, when they're filming, which is weird. And they're acting, the acting seems so I know we commented a lot about the acting throughout the whole series, but it's almost like they're talking in slow motion. Did you notice, like, they showed the lunch that Seema had with the girls, or the dinner, and Carrie's she's repeating the line, you listed me because you didn't have any listings? And I'm like, did you Freaky Friday with Kristen Davis? Why are you delivering the line like you're a zombie?
Well, do you think they were trying to do what we talked about, like doing things different ways?
Yeah.
Like, did you list me like a piece of real estate? Did you list me like a piece of real estate? Did you list me like a piece of real estate? Like, maybe she was like trying different things. I'm just trying to give her something.
No, I think so. But I was like, make a good choice. Like, I would never just be throwing stuff out there. Not that I'm some great actor, but I wouldn't say something if I didn't believe it sounded correct in my head. Yeah. Whatever. Like, did you notice when Cynthia was doing her directing and Kristen Davis is like saying something in that picnic table scene, and Cynthia's like, say it to me again. Give it to me one more time. Do it different. I'm like, bitch, sit down.
Stick your finger in me. Stick your finger in me.
Stick your finger. Can I put it in? Go, leave me alone with your golden age ass, your alleged directing. She's never going to speak to me again after this podcast.
Aww.
Okay. Let me go through it. I have to speed through some of this here. Okay, I just want to talk about this one last thing, and then we'll talk about Paris, and then we'll be done. Thank you for staying.
We promise.
I promise. I know it's going on so long, but this is kind of like the grand finale of bitching about this. We still have videos planned to talk about this, but not going this deep. This is kind of our last hurrah for bitching about this series.
Please.
So, we get to meet one of the writers. We meet several of the writers throughout this documentary, but we meet Kelly Goff, the writer of episode number 4, which is the one where Charlotte is in a mad panic trying to find a black person to take to the dinner party because she doesn't have enough black friends. Remember that? That was a good one.
Yes.
And
how could you not?
and okay, I'll tell you what I did like first. They said, Michael Patrick said, and I think Sarah said that they had kind of an unwritten rule that they like to base the stories on things that have happened to the writers in real life. That's not a groundbreaking, concept. They said that this particular writer, Kelly, she was used to going to fancy parties and people assuming she was the other fabulous black writer and mixing because, all black people look the same. You know what I mean? So I thought that was...
That whole idea of that, yeah.
So I thought that was good to work that in. Now, where I kind of laughed just a little bit because they were talking about the artwork that would be in the apartment. Do you know where I'm going with this one?
Yeah.
They're talking about the... I'm not going to offend anybody. Well, I might. I'm not trying to here. But they have the lady that's picking out the artwork. Was it Lisa's apartment? Oh, God. Now I sound like the asshole. Whatever. Lisa and Herbert's apartment, I think it was. Or it might have been a friend of theirs. I really can't remember. It's been a while. Anyway.
Doesn't matter. Yeah.
But they have the lady saying, I was thinking, what kind of artwork would these people have in their house? And I'm like, oh, I don't know. And she's like, all civil rights related artwork. Like, all African-American artwork, Martin Luther King, it looks like the Civil Rights Museum. And I swear to you, I'm not joking, but this was such a corny choice that I thought that a white person had written the episode. This sounds to me like something a white woman would write. They're black, so it almost seems like the character of Charlotte wrote it. Well, they're black people, they must have all civil rights memorabilia in their home. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes, I do. I don't want to see what you're saying.
That is such a basic choice.
Yeah.
Like, they can't be more dynamic than that. Like, give me and then they made a point to show Harry and Charlotte walking by the colored entrance only, which was funny, by the way, but also just like, oh my, it's a little cringe for me.
Right. I mean, it just definitely, like you said, they could be more dynamic and more, interested in art, and even Kristen Davis's character comes in and like schools them or whatever, and I'm like, I did whatever. I don't even want to go into the scene because you all.
Oh, right, because Charlotte did run a gallery, but I'm like, this is like her in. She's like, this is my in with the black folks. Is I know about art, even black art, and I'm just like, oh my god, like,
oh my god. And
look, I have black friends that have. Oh god, I just said it. I have black friends. ethnic friends that have houses full of like ethnic art and shit, but it's not like this. I felt was not a great move, but whatever. I'm not hung up on it. Let me move on because I just feel myself being canceled as we speak. I feel it. I'm sorry, guys. Does anybody feel me? Like, I love the artwork was all beautiful. It's just like really like they couldn't like anything else. It's all great artwork.
Walking into the gay person's house and you see like Liza posters on the wall. Is that what you're saying? Like that sort of thing?
Yes. Thank you.
Like Barbra Streisand records everywhere. Rainbow flags out the window.
Thank you. Thank you for finally coming to my rescue. You'll notice, listeners, that Jay often just lets me dig my own grave and then laughs at me. Once in a blue moon, he'll come to my rescue and make it about gay people so that I can sound not like an asshole. Thank you. Okay. So then they briefly talk about Willie Garson's death, Stanford.
Briefly?
They're like, Sarah Jessica's like, yeah, he died. Bring me the gingham belt.
Right. They should have had like a total section on him. I mean, did they not interview him at all during this whole thing? They could have put in some interviews or something. Like make him more of a present than just, I just can't believe I can't call him. I need to talk about me. And he's not there to listen to me talk about me.
Wonder what's going on in Japan. Why can't he text me?
Right. Maybe he has been in the guise of Samantha.
There's really no rhyme or reason to how they handle the absence of a character, whether it be via death or moving. It's just like throwing the cards up in the air and picking one. Like, he just moved to Japan.
Death is the best way to go, if you ask me, with characters. Get them out of the way. You don't have to deal with it anymore.
I agree, because then we can know that they're not coming back. For
my God! So what if Samantha would have died in London and they would have all gone to London to her funeral? Skip this whole big thing and just make it about Samantha's funeral.
I think that, I would have been, I think they should have, because there really is no chance that she's coming back. And I don't like seeing, we talked about this earlier, but I don't like being strung along, feeling like being reminded that she's not there every few episodes with a phantom text or a card or whatever. Just let me forget her. Like, let me like Seema enough to where I don't care about Samantha anymore. Let me fill the void, okay?
It's the only option is to stop caring, or you're just going to feel bad the whole time. You have to let it go. It's like time heals all wounds.
The only way to get over one friend is to get under another one, or a man. What's the saying? You know?
It's to get under another one.
If you have a friend and they leave your life, you just get a new one, okay?
Yeah, just make.
You should have seen the guy you replaced. Oh my gosh, he was a mess. Yeah. Anyway, Paris. I'm gonna let you finish it off with Paris. Give me your thoughts. I want the full breakdown. The
Paris,
ugly hat, the ashes, the dresses.
Well, so with her in Paris, like somebody's commented that they mentioned that Paris could have been a green screen. I don't know, but I guess we find out that it's not a green screen.
I was surprised they went there too. I really was.
They actually went and spent the money for that. Like, I wonder how much that cost to move that production there unnecessarily, because they clearly have the green screen that they could have just recreated this.
They could have thrown them ashes in the Hudson River and called it a day.
That's right. They could, anything. We talked about the dildo. I was thinking maybe you could get clear fingernails, and put the ashes in the nails.
That's not real cute. With glitter.
Yeah, mixed with glitter. Yeah, there's so much you could do with that. Anyway, yeah. So they go to Paris, and they're filming her dumping out the ashes. And I did notice the ashes did get all over her dress. And someone had mentioned that, and I did notice that when we watched. I'm like, oh my God, she needs to shake that dress out. There's a lot of ashes on that dress. I still think it would have been great for her to dump them in and see like a skier, ski through them. What show is that? Is that The Nanny, or is that Golden Girls where they dump the ashes and the skier goes through? I think it's the Golden Girls.
I don't know. I was thinking of Fonzie jumping the shark, and then he just goes, and then the ashes go flying. Talk about jumping the shark, by the way. Yes.
Yeah, there's so many things they could have done other than her dump them. She basically
in a
dumped them
shitty
all over
river?
her dress. I mean, the wind blew them all over her dress. They probably never even got into the water.
Why not go to the top of the Eiffel Tower, just off of a random? Then maybe that's a famous bridge. I haven't been. Didn't
somebody in our comments say that it's illegal to do that, to dump stuff like that? Well, I thought someone said that.
Carrie's breaking the law. Internet locked up abroad. Season 2.
That'd have been great if she got arrested. Right after that, that could have been a whole nother story.
And Miranda's not practicing law anymore. That's because she's too busy, following Che around America. So Carrie's really going to be fucked.
She would have been screwed. But we could have like a real prison story. I don't know. I'm sort of liking this.
We'll work it in. Yeah. What do you think about that orange dress?
I mean, I think it looked better with the ashes on it, if you ask me.
It did. I like a little texture on a nice dress. It was another over-the-top dress. Like, what do you wear to go throw ashes in a river and be inconspicuous, especially if it's illegal at nighttime in Paris? You know, I'm wearing the biggest orange fluffy dress I can find.
Well, I thought the ashes made it look sort of ombre-ish a little bit. Maybe.
Yeah, tie-dye would have been great.
Tie-dye. Yeah, let's pick her out. So what would you wear if you were dumping somebody's ashes? Well, anywhere. Like, what would you wear? Would you do solid black with a black veil? What would you wear? I've seen these on Amazon. I know this sounds super creepy, but I love that all black bodysuit that they wear in American Horror Story Season 1. Like a PVC. Yeah, because it wipes off, right? So if the ashes blow back on you, it just wipes right off.
And then like a cat burglar, you just like, sling away like into the night, into the shadows. Like, I like that. Like a cat burglar.
I want to dress like a ninja.
Yeah, I want to be a ninja.
Silently appear on like the ledge.
Like, I'm not trying to get in trouble.
Oh my god, I got it. So the ashes go in the nails, but they have little things on the end that you go tink, and you shake all the ashes out of the nails. And
then cyanide comes out and you poison somebody's drink. And like a Russian spy, you slip away into the night. I just want to slip away.
I am brilliant. I need to write the next James Bond movie that is so great. You could put poison in there and like tink tink in someone's drink.
You got to watch the movie Salt with Angelina Jolie. It's like a female James Bond where she is a Russian spy. It is so good.
Oh, well, I love Aeon Flux. I don't know if you've seen you know Aeon Flux.
I have. I love it.
The animated from
Ultraviolet.
Charlize Theron, who cares? But the animated from MTV Liquid Television. I love Aeon Flux. That's such an Aeon Flux thing.
How many flux do I give? Not one.
Not one. I don't give a fluck.
I guess this is the end.
Oh, that's sad.
Is it?
Well, is it, Sharon?
I think I'm full, but you know what? Like I said, we have a few more videos coming up. They won't be this extensive with detail and bitching, but we do have some fun stuff coming up. Now look, bitches, if you subscribe to this channel thinking you were just here for And Just Like That and then it's over, think again. Stay here, because we bitch about a lot of stuff and you're gonna love it. And we love you. Don't leave me.
Yeah, don't leave us. And my radiator has so much more to say. So
the radiator, Olivia, the dog, the side
my
characters.
Dog's a guest star. She on the last episode just had the longest drink of her life, and you caught it all on recording.
Please come to our Patreon, because we're having a full-on party. I love it that we just have like access to a little private, VIP club of people that all love us. I can just go in and be like, "Hi everybody, I need some attention," and they're like, "Hey girl." It's so satisfying and indulgent. It's very Carrie Bradshaw. Me. I love it. And I love hearing about other people's shit too in there. And follow us on Instagram, obviously. Subscribe. Even if you're on here, please subscribe to the podcast on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Please like this video. I'm sorry, I know this is obnoxious and everybody does it. Please like this video, hit subscribe, and hit the goddamn notification bell.
Yes!
I promise I'm going to try not to say that a lot. But please do it. It really does help us.
You'll love the shit that we put out, because we have fun, and we know you'll have fun, so...
Yeah, and I want to thank, I keep forgetting, but thank you to the channel Real Housewives Recaps, who shouted us out and sent a lot of her viewers over. That was very nice of you, so thank you. And thank you to everyone who's been commenting. Please keep doing so and tell us what you're watching. We love to hear, and we love gossip and drama, too.
Yeah, check out on our Patreon, we've been talking about Pam and Tommy, the series that's on Hulu right now. So we've been kind of covering that, and there's some other stuff coming up that we're excited about, so we can chat and compare notes and have a good time.
Yes, please do. Thank you again, and we will talk to you tomorrow.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye.
Welcome back to the broadcast. Your favorite